I only know one style. I don't know if they're multi-style.
All right, a little past 7 o'clock, but Dell and Bruce back here with pick and roll.
Pick and roll, my man.
Pick
Don't
and
get
roll.
confused.
No, I didn't get confused. Actually, we're down in the dugout tonight here at Arugas. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty nice. Different.
They
Very
set us up
different.
nice.
Yeah,
I mean,
different.
dugouts, lined with TVs. You can see them in the back there. Really nice and comfortable. We really don't have, I guess, any crowd to deal with. I guess they had a crowd of like about, 40 or 50 people they were having upstairs there.
Yeah.
So I guess we got moved, but actually to a really good spot. I mean, this Arugas has been a very kind host to us. And 7 o'clock, but
oh, there we go.
Uh-huh.
I just want to make sure that we were on. We're good, buddy.
Yeah.
We're all good.
Well, it was a little bit of duct tape and baling wire to get on here this evening. But why don't you talk a little bit about who we've got on the show tonight coming down the road?
Oh, man, I tell you what, I think we got really special guests tonight. We got Ty Savercool of Cedar Cliff, who just won the mid-pen, and he won his first round game against Muhlenberg on a couple of foul shots at the end. And we got our main writer from LMP that does the boys and follows the boys and goes through the states and helps us with the districts. We got John Walken. He's got a brand new tie on tonight, so I'm excited to see that. He usually wears one tie, but I think he's increased his wardrobe double tonight.
Well, that's good. We really appreciate both Ty and John stopping
We're live
by.
tonight.
And we are live.
Everything's live.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
Not recorded. This is live.
Right. We got a couple clips
Couple
tonight.
clips coming up. But
So good.
we always start the week with like the week that was, and wow. I mean, my week that was like, actually it was 8 days since we did the show last Tuesday. But gosh, between everything that went on in the LL tournament, girls final, boys final, boys semifinal, and then, the last couple nights here with districts, was able to report on really two fine games. The Penn Manor girls beating Wilson on Monday night.
That's good. I got a lot of good PR back from that. I got a lot of repeats on the Twitter site, and some people were very happy. I know the Penn Manor people were happy.
Fans dig the video.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just telling you, guys that are covering games out there, fans dig the video. It's great. And, John does the best that he can with that. See, I'm not doing a box score, so it's a little bit easier for me than a lot of guys because, they're trying to write down stats and everything else, where I'm just kind of focusing on that. But and then last night, Warwick and Lebanon, Warwick sent them packing. I mean, that it was a great game. It was very emotional. But Warwick kind of, they got out there, and they really never let Lebanon back in that one yesterday.
Warwick all year has played really good D. They're very gritty. Their team led by a really tough guy in Landis. So that's not surprising, just because I think they had a little bit more than Lebanon did. Lebanon, not having the Collins kid really hurt them down. Yeah. You could tell. You could just tell they were short of score.
Yeah. Well, still they were out there. They played their hearts out, and obviously a lot of dejection. There, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, that's the toughest part about what we do, okay? Because now we've been doing this long enough. Well, we've got friends on both sidelines.
Oh, well.
I mean, that is the most difficult, and people that talk to me know that's the toughest part about, isn't it great, like doing sports and yada, yada, yada. The tough part is the fact that we see all the work and we see all the extra hours that everybody puts into these games.
There's a lot of heartbreak at the end. I mean, that's the thing. So, hey, tell me about the LL Finals, because you were doing both. I mean, talk to me about that, the LL Finals.
Well,
so let's talk about the girls first, and then we'll talk about the boys, and then we got a couple clips, and then we'll get into our guests here.
Well, the LL girls, what can you say? It was just, very emotional. For me, it's always great, and we had Rick Dissinger with her.
From Cedar Crest.
Boy, I tell you what, if he wasn't an athletic director, he could be a broadcaster. Does such a great job, with that. But what can you say about, Lancaster Catholic? I mean, they went out there And, you know, I was talking to Coach Detz before the game, and he's saying, hey, we're ready to start another streak.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they were young the year before, and I talked to him a little earlier in the year too, and he said we're gonna take some losses, but we're playing some big time teams, and I just kind of had a feel the whole way with them. So.
Yeah, and you know, Ephrata, I mean, obviously a team that, and that was, you know, the one thing that I was talking to Coach Cerullo before the game, and actually we were even having this conversation with Ty before we started the broadcast about the whole emotional aspect. You know, I mean, was there any emotion left in the tank for all of these, you know, just coming off of a big overtime win over Penn Manor to make it to the finals? Was there really enough emotion in the tank? And, you know, look, they played hard, but unfortunately, you know, it just didn't go their way. And I don't think it was because of emotion. I think it was because of, you know, the deep team that Lancaster Catholic had on the girls' side.
Catholic was a little bit better. We had about 1,000 views for that. So let's talk about the boys' game.
And the boys' game, wow. I mean, can it get any better than going down to the last shot? I mean, you know, what do you think?
The LL tournament is special. That's what I think. And I think John will talk to that. And I know we had some back and forth on the Twitter, but all I know is what I cover and what we've been a part of. And it's just special. I mean, we did the live stream. We thanked the LL for letting us get in there. It was crazy. I mean, the gym probably had 3,000 people in it, and standing room only, and the intensity and it was just cool. I thought at one point LS was going to kind of just coast in, but Danny Walk's team didn't let that happen.
No, it was, and I was down on the court, and so really getting the feel for that emotion, you know, and that final shot. Wow, I mean, really special.
Well, you know what? We had Mark 22, Mark P, and he was on the floor, and he had the picture of the final shot for us. So we have a gallery that Mark does. He also does his own. He also does his own galleries. So you know, that was kind of cool. We had the interview with Ty, and let's go into them.
All right, let's. The first thing is let's show the video of the final shot and the game-winning shot. So, and a great call here by Eric Thomas.
Yeah, Eric and Warren Goodling.
Here we go.
And
check this out.
it is Wagner to inbound with 18.7 to go. He gets it into Vranich. Vranich hands it off to Wagner. Wagner to Burton. Burton with 10 to go for the LL title. 10 seconds for the LL title. Burton drives. Now he pulls it back. Ty pulls up for three on the way. In and out. Got the rebound. And it falls with 2 seconds left. And Hempfield quickly calls a timeout. Timeout before the inbound. Burton got the friendly roll. We got fans on the court. They got to get off the floor. There is still going to be time left. There should be time left. As Hempfield called a timeout, their final time.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy there at the end. I mean, it's pretty special when you have, you know, a tournament game, you know, final come down to the final shot of that, and it's such an emotional.
Last year was a 1-point game too, so we had 2 years in a row where it just really close. Basketball.
Right. And now we've got the nice.
What else do you have?
Post-game interview with Eric.
He's got to get up there and cut a piece of the net as well. And let's see. Ty will take a seat here. How good does that net feel in your hands right now?
Man, it feels amazing. It really does. Oh my goodness.
So, tell me about because we're up here watching this, and we figure the ball's going in your hands no matter what in the closing seconds. When you shot that, what are you thinking when you shot that? You gotta fall back and watch this thing take 7 bounces off the rim and then finally hit the backboard and go in.
I knew it was gonna go in before it left my hand. I mean, the timeout called. I went over to the team hall and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna end this right now. And Razor left my hand. I was like, "That's game." I knew it. I knew from the start. I knew Razor left my hand. I knew that ball was going to go in the hoop.
You had a tremendous hot streak there in that third quarter. You didn't quite hit them early. You tested them early on, but you didn't quite hit them early. But you kept going, and that's the mark of a great shooter right there. You got to just keep going, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're not going to hit shots if you stop shooting after a miss. You know, next shot's going in. That's the mentality. You know, you can't break down, especially in a big game like this. I know I had to hit shots down the stretch, and I just had to have trust in myself, have trust in the work that I put in.
How big were Luka's 2 3-point plays?
Oh my goodness, that was a whole game changer right there. I mean, he's a senior though, but he's done that before. We knew he could do that. I mean, he's been that it factor for us this whole entire year.
Now at 24-0, now you've entered can't lose territory.
Yeah. Same mindset as always, you know, one game at a time. We don't think about our record, you know, going into the LO playoffs. We didn't think about our record at all because we knew anyone could beat anyone. I mean, look, three-point game. We knew. We don't think about that. I mean, once again, it's 0-0 going in districts.
All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Great shot tonight. Congratulations on a big win. Ty Burton's our player of the game tonight. 18 points as LS wins.
All right, and we're back. I mean, that was a great interview with Ty. I mean, pretty special kid. It was a pretty special game, and it was a pretty special week, wasn't it, though?
Yeah. But we had a lot of hits on the live stream and on our YouTube, and we thank everybody for that. So, you know, let's go forward here, brother.
All right, got a couple commercials, and Ty Savercool here gonna join us and tell us a little bit about Cedar Cliff basketball, right?
He'll fix you up because obviously. Hey, I'm here with Ty Savercool. Hey, big guy.
Thanks for having me.
Oh man, I tell you what, I know you and I and Andy get back and forth on the Twitter thing sometimes, and we appreciate your insight. We appreciate you being here. So, tell us a little bit about your week. You had a busy week.
Yeah, it's been a pretty intense week and a half for us. We had kind of an unexpected entry into the Mid-Penn tournament whenever Palmyra lost to Milton Hershey last league game of the regular season, which gave us the outright title. Chalk didn't go true that night. So, you know, it put us in the Keystone Division champs, which put us in the Mid-Penn tournament where we matched with Cumberland Valley, who's a very good squad out of the Commonwealth. So the two larger school divisions kind of matched up first round. Mid-Penn rotates every year, what they're doing on a 3-year cycle. So beat Cumberland Valley in a come-from-behind game in the fourth quarter. And then 2 days later, turned around and played Shippensburg in the championship, and really had a really good game there. Just competed. I mean, Ships they have about as much experience as we do with senior leadership and things like that. So we competed. We won that game. Really good benchmark win and a goal for us that we had early in the season. And then last night, first round of districts, played Muhlenberg, who's the scariest 12 seed that could possibly be produced in the power ranking system, and gutted out a game with 5 seconds left. We won the game. So fun game.
So tell me, I was watching the Twitter and all I saw was 5 seconds. I saw your big guy on the line, one of your big guys. You got a couple big guys, but tell us the play before, because nobody talks about that play. What happened? Was he posting up or going to the rack or just getting fouled?
Muhlenberg hit a 3 with about 25 seconds left to go up one.
Go up one.
So we were up 2. They hit a 3 to go up 1. We had no timeouts left, nor did Muhlenberg. So we pushed out of it, and really it was just a chaos of just a lot of dribbling and moving and no one knowing what they're doing and just trying to get the ball in the hands of Tyler.
Okay.
And we did. And he got fouled on a reach from behind. Kind of the guy that was playing behind him at the elbow kind of went through him and fouled him. and sent him to the line with 5.9 seconds left. He had 1-on-1.
He was about 15 feet away?
He was at the elbow. He was at the elbow.
Okay.
Yep, we were trying to get him the ball in the high post.
Okay.
Gets a little hairy at the low block sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
especially at the end of the game.
Yeah,
and
everyone
you guys
kind of floods the paint.
I've seen you before. You do a little high-low with your big guys,
Yep.
so I'm assuming that was kind of they were looking at that a little bit.
Yeah,
I know
we
you didn't
just
have
wanted to
time
spread them out,
Yeah,
and it was just a matter of trying to get a ball to the rim in some capacity. They fouled us 1-on-1. Tyler made both. They give us a 1-point lead. 6 seconds is a lot of time to go full court.
Yes, it is.
So it felt like about 45 seconds, but they pushed out of it. Because they couldn't call timeout and set something up. So they pushed out of the make and got a good look at three and just rimmed out.
Okay, all right, cool. How difficult is it, and you and I talked off screen here a little bit, how difficult is it to get your kids up? I mean, you played Mid-Penn Championship, and you hung a banner, and I'm assuming that was the first one in Cedar Cliff for the boys?
2011 and 2015.
Okay, second, third one. Okay, so how difficult is it to take that game on a Thursday night and come back and play Tuesday in the first round of district, when if you lose, you're going home? That's the end of your season. Mid-Penn champs, doesn't matter, you're done.
The Mid-Penn week was we were playing with house money in our mind. I mean, we were already preparing for Muhlenberg in our heads at the end of the regular season, and then we had that surprise kind of thrown in our lap. So I had to scramble and find a bunch of film on Cumberland Valley and then Shippensburg because I already had a bunch of film on Muhlenberg.
Yeah.
So we were kind of in the Mid-Penn tournament just saying like, hey, we got nothing to lose. Like we either be scrimmaging or we're playing games this week, so we're playing games.
Right.
And so turning that page wasn't as challenging. Turning the page emotionally is probably the most challenging. And this group did it last year where they did not turn the page well last year. We upset Cumberland Valley in the first round of districts last year, and then we played Muhlenberg down at Muhlenberg, and we only had one practice to prepare because it was a Wednesday, Friday setup.
Yeah.
And when you get that big win, you kind of need that one practice just to be really giddy and happy and kind of get that out of your system. So we didn't have a good prep practice for Muhlenberg last year.
Okay.
So this year we had multiple practices, and we could kind of get that beyond us and really focus on the next game.
So you got your giddy out of the way today.
Got our today.
This is gone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
we got it out of the way.
Tomorrow it's focus.
Today was a recovery day because last night it was the most physical basketball game that could possibly be played.
Well,
so it was a rough game. So
speaking of physical, I know what you're headed for this Friday. Talk about a little bit, without giving anything away, that your preparation for Hempfield. How do you prepare for a district second round? Yeah, I mean
they got a first round bye for a reason. They won enough games to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this time of year, 6A is just. I mean, I said to someone else earlier in the week that the fact that we have someone that won their division in 6A and did not qualify for district playoffs is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that that's how deep 6A is. And so really there's not an off night in playoffs. Seeds get tossed out. Seeds get you in.
Yeah.
Seeds put you in the bracket. Yeah. But once the ball's tipped, you toss it out the window.
You and I both would like 6A to go to 16. I mean, there's just some good teams in there. And maybe they're not district champ teams, but speaking as a coach, if I can speak to you as a coach, it's always nice to put that little check in the box. It's like, I qualify for districts. And then if you have a good enough team that's battle tested, that top-seeded team sometimes looks beyond the bottom-seeded team, and then we have upsets like we had in the 5A.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something. We were in that position last year as the 12 seed that got in and upsetting Cumberland Valley as the 5 last year. So seeds get tossed out the window. Everyone at 6A has won 15, 16, 17 games and they're in district playoffs. So everyone knows how to win.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what style and brand of basketball they play. We're seeing a little bit different brand of basketball on Friday relative to last night.
Sure.
But Hempfield's solid. I mean, well coached, tough kids. They like to play the game a very blue collar brand, and they get after it and they compete.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: Mid-Penn. I mean, when are they going to get their act together and go 1, 2, 3, 4? I mean, when are they going to do that stuff? It's like I look at stuff and it's like, well, what? I don't know, or Trinity, I don't know these standings. You guys don't have a website, or you do?
Oh, you can talk about our fancy names.
Yes,
yeah, our fancy
yes.
names. I think there is a website. I don't know how often it's updated. I mean, I don't
not.
know. Yeah, so, I don't know. I guess I've always been in it, so I kind of like
Okay.
it doesn't really.
Okay.
I don't really think twice of it when I
Okay.
hear that.
All right.
I actually have to question, like, when you tell me Section 1, I know it's larger schools,
Yes.
but I don't know who's in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could guess,
Yeah.
but there's always that cutoff where I don't know.
I
like,
can guess a Mid-Penn 1, what
Yeah.
I called a Mid-Penn 1 and a Mid-Penn 2. Speak a little bit about Mid-Penn, and I know maybe you play some of these teams, but I noticed in the brackets, the 4A especially, McDevitt, Trinity, and Middletown. I mean, they're all in the same conference, and they're all playing each other in the first kind of bottom bracket there. I mean,
Yeah.
do you cross over and play those teams? I guess that would be my first question.
We don't. It's kind of out of intent because we are our division. We're the only 6A in our division.
So you need points.
And for power ranking
need
purposes,
points.
like we're playing all 5As twice a year, so 14 of our games are 5A opponents. So we're already at a disadvantage. I mean, I say to everyone, we have to have one more win than everyone else in
Yeah.
the Commonwealth because we have to compensate for a 5A win over a
sure.
6A win.
So your non-league is 9 games? 8 games? 8 games.
8 games. 8 games. Yeah.
So on your non-league schedule, you're making sure you're playing a 6A team.
Yeah, Chambersburg, Carlisle. We had Central Dauphin on the schedule, but the last week of the season with
Yeah.
COVID and that snowstorm, everything kind of screwed everything up. Who else have we played?
Anybody out of area?
Out of area, we played Williamsport this year.
Okay.
That was a good test. That actually was a game that we played last week of the regular season. Really helped us for last
Play
night.
up there?
They came to us this year. We're
Okay.
going to them next
nice.
year.
That's a great
Magic
gym,
Dome.
man. That's
Magic Dome,
awesome.
yeah,
You know that.
yeah.
You know that. Okay, take me, we're dealing with playoffs. Take me to how you prepared this team. Obviously, you knew you had a good team going in. What was the mindset for you and these players from the beginning of the season to where we're at right now?
I mean, I'm a little old-fashioned. I just I believe in I use the terminology sweat equity a lot.
Okay.
It drives Matt Johns crazy. I know that, but I use
Sweat
the term
equity. I
sweat
like it.
equity a
All
lot.
right, that's good.
But I just believe you work hard,
Yeah.
and when you work really hard, you become invested in something and not just interested.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're interested in something, you'll play hard when it's convenient for you,
Yeah.
and you'll compete when things are going well for you. But you'll be the first to check out when
Yeah.
things don't. And I think players that are invested, when that going gets tough, they just compete and they do not stop. So the whole concept of putting in the time, and we do a lot in the off season.
Yeah.
I just said last night to the one news reporter that we work as hard as what we do in the off season to be ready for moments like last night.
Very good.
So that whole concept of sweat equity and interest over investment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I'm so excited to see you. I'm going to see you Friday. So, and I've talked to you before. I talked to you up at Manheim Central, and I'm going to see your growth in your team because obviously you guys got it cranking at this point, and I'm so glad you visited us tonight.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thanks for having me.
Stay in touch, and
Sure.
and-
Save me a good seat on Friday.
Oh, we will. We
Yeah.
will. I'll save you a good seat. I'll be up in the stand someplace. All the power players. John Walk will be down there on the table.
Yeah.
I'll be up behind the student section. So we'll see. I'll be doing some video and stuff like that. But hey, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll turn it over to Bruce here for some commercials. Thank you, buddy.
Sure.
Thanks, Ty. Really appreciate it, man.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll go all night.
And we're back. How about that? Pick and roll here. And John Walk, you've been doing the talk show circuit here this week, right?
This last 7 days, me and Ty Savercool seem to be a tag team because this time last week we were both guests on the Mike Drago podcast, which I refreshed my brain listening to on the way over because I'm like, Cedar Cliff's playing Hempfield on Friday. I better know my Cedar Cliff stuff. So that should be a fun matchup coming up in a couple days.
Right. And you've been doing your own podcast too with LNP, right?
Yeah. So we have a weekly, what we call LL Basketball Roundtable, has a sponsorship. We tend to try to get out to a girls' practice one week, boys' practice the next week. Just to kind of switch it up, and those interviews go at the top of the show, and then after that,
kind of like what we did.
Us talking heads kind of just talk all things LL basketball.
Yeah, right. That's kind of the same thing that we do here. I mean, sometimes we've had recordings, of interviews, but actually the last couple times, in fact, Chris Bradford actually crashed, one week. He said, hey, he wanted to be on, but I think this is a great forum to have. Right. I think that. So much, and I'm just talking to you because, you're a reporter, okay? Do you find that doing these kind of shows allows you to provide more opinion rather than, reporting? I mean, obviously you've got to do the facts and figures and plus and minus, but do you like the fact that you can express your opinion a little bit more in the talk shows?
Yeah, you can go a little bit more long-winded just in terms of Lampeter, Strasburg, outside of what I say in a game story, all 5 guys can score. They like to run the ball in transition, and Luka Varanik is, that glue guy, and Ty Burton's kind of the do-it-all kid, and you can kind of go in depth as to, and you can do it quickly, because, I can talk pretty fast when I need to, and kind of squeeze that all into one kind of compact thing, and by the end, it's like your brain's kind of scattered, because you get across 8 billion points within a 15-minute window, whereas, you look at articles online, and I try to not to pay attention to that stuff, so I don't drive myself crazy, but it's like, the average viewer sticks on a game story for 60 seconds. It's like,
sure, right.
Okay, so they read the first, 2 paragraphs and check out. So, and who knows, even all that stuff I just said, when I'm writing about details of players in the back end of a story, maybe they don't see that, whereas maybe in a video they would.
Yeah, and, obviously we're going to talk about some basketball, but me, personally, I'm really interested on what's going on, in the industry and whatever like that. So why is LNP now getting involved in, the video or whatever? Obviously they must see some value in it. I mean, you've got a separate guy doing video, what have you. What's up with LNP on that? I mean, is that a new focus?
I wouldn't say a new focus. They had podcasts.
Right,
They were probably the first on the podcast at the early 2000s before anybody even knew they existed. But it was just a matter of where to find them, and they came and went. But me being an 06 Penn Manor grad, 2010 Penn State grad, I bring that up to say, when I'm going to school, I very much, wanted to do what I'm doing now, but when I get up to Main Park at University Park there, people are telling me, well, newspaper industry is kind of on the edge there. You should be a little bit more well-versed. So I went and actually did broadcasting my last 2 years. My bachelor's degree says journalism, but I mainly focused on radio and television stuff, and I'm glad I did that because coming out these last 12 years now of this career, it's very much both now. It's not just writing. You see me taking videos at games, and I learned that skill from interning at a local TV station during the summer for the sports, and I'm kicking myself because I have video of the Ty Burton game winner. But if you go back and watch it, my shot, the ball leaves the frame, and then it comes back in the frame. And I'm still mad at myself that I didn't follow the ball into the basket the entire way. Just kind of little things that you pick up there along the way. And doing my own podcast and radio show up there, and I struggled with this in the Mike Drago podcast, like I'm doing now, saying, whereas you learn to, instead of saying those uhs and ums, you kind of just slow down, pause a little bit, let people breathe, and
or not say something when you're thinking. Don't say anything. Silence is not bad. And ugh. I'm the first one to tell you that. I say
and not
and
coughing
ugh
into
a
the
lot.
mic and stuff like that. So, and that's. It's funny. It seems like, and it happened again this past Tuesday. We record Tuesdays at 3:00, and it goes up on Wednesdays. Our all basketball roundtable basketball page at Lancaster Online, and Mike and Jeff are fighting each other in terms of who can hold back their cough the best, because they're both just dying trying to cough, and they don't want to do it on air. So at one point we almost stopped and just restarted. So I'm sure I've had those instances as well, but that's one of the many things that we try to pick up on. And so that was even 12 years ago, me coming out of college of, you got to transition. You can't just be a newspaper focused. You got to do video, you got to do podcast. And now we kind of have the technology, so to speak. Even of you guys, 10 years ago, were you doing live streams? No. Were you doing podcasts? No. So we've all kind of learned to adapt. And here we are, 2022, kind of doing everything.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me too. I mean, I'm like, at games covering, doing the video, splicing that into an article, which basically almost, the way that I do an article almost is like if you're reading a television sportscast or a highlight show. You have a little lead in, you have the highlight, little lead in, highlight. Right. And I'm pretty much writing it as the game goes on.
Yeah,
so,
and I even had, when I started at LNP, actually, what's today, 23rd? All right, so today is actually my 7-year mark on the nose since I started working at Lancaster.
Wow.
And my first couple years there, nobody was doing podcasts yet. Again, they had done some back in 2000s. They came and went. And I started one up called Inspirational Athletes Podcast, went for 2 years, had 100 episodes, and basically had coaches, players, pro, college, high school, what have you. And my goal there was just to do something different as far as, hey, you just talked to Ty Savercool. Let's pick his brain for 60 minutes as far as what's your coaching journey? What got you started? Where'd you come from? How do you motivate your players? What's
and that's what I just did with you, right?
And
you weren't expecting me to ask like in depth.
Sure.
Like, what's
so
going on?
That's where I got my passion from doing that. And by the end, we're doing 8 billion things. So I kind of had to put that on the back burner a little bit to really focus on, what my main job responsibilities are. So bringing these shows back for doing it once a week, a roundtable, coming on here, kind of fills that podcast gap that I was missing a little bit in a sense. So I'm glad that there's a lot of these media outlets now, and I'm not sure that it's found many places outside of the LL League is what I hear a lot. Now, maybe we're biased in terms of, us being here and hearing that, but I try to remind myself, when you get those few emails every week, why don't you guys do more and more and more? It's like, go outside of the county, live there for 2 years, come back, and then tell me what kind of coverage we do. I mean, we're covering basketball, wrestling, bowling, rifle.
Yeah.
And we try to get to it all, given our limited resources.
Sure.
So I hope we're doing a good job there.
I know. I mean, the one thing that I always do is like, and I guess I could do it every morning, but for some reason, and I don't know why, in my email every morning, like my Harrisburg Patriot News, LNP, and Reading Eagle, the emails literally come like bingo, bango, bongo in my email every single day, which is great.
Yeah,
so I have it like, right there.
Thank you.
And but the point is that it's important for people to support media. And it's important and we talk about it all the time, to support the advertisers that are supporting the media that are covering all these games, whether it's LNP or whether it's, LL Hoops or what have you. So, right, I mean, we talk about that all the time, or whether it's my live streams. I mean, there aren't any live streams unless, somebody supports the broadcast.
Right.
So, and that's why I always like my sponsors, Win Marketing and, Apex Auto Exchange. I mean, Apex Auto Exchange is an effort. Good stuff. So, all right, let's talk a little basketball. Yeah, all right. Enough about you.
Viewership.
On the boys' side, really the only upset so far, maybe the Wilson game. Like last night.
6A.
But
Wilson beat Waynesboro.
Yeah, right. Beyond that, I mean, obviously we're still in the.
Susquehannock, a 12 seed. Okay,
I really like them too.
12 seed beat
I really like
Palmyra,
Susquehannock.
5 seed.
Yeah, I like Susquehannock.
Exeter, a 10 seed, beat Milton Hershey, a 7 seed.
A little different in
Lower
5A.
Dolphin, an 11 seed, again defending District 3 5A champs. Went to Elizabethtown and won by point.
Yeah.
Good game there. So, dude, I'm so busy that I haven't even had time to stop and look until now as far as, hey, what upsets happened last night outside of kind of just updating my 2A and 6A brackets.
Yeah, and 4A, I think, Middletown and Bishop McDevitt is like, one of those games, like one of those can't miss games.
Right.
This upcoming, actually, what is it, tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Thursday.
Tomorrow, yeah. 3A, talk a little bit about, what it's like from, having a Columbia-Lancaster Catholic matchup, in district like that.
Sure. So let's go back to last season. League quarterfinals. It's Columbia at Lancaster Catholic, which I believe was the first time Columbia played at Lancaster Catholic since like late 80s, early 90s. So it had been a long while. So that game goes down to the wire. Lancaster Catholic wins it. They meet up again in last year's District 3 3A final. Goes down to the wire. Lancaster Catholic wins it. So here this matchup comes back around. Okay, they did meet in the regular season earlier this year, and Columbia won that handily. It's a completely different set for Lancaster Catholic, because I think they only had one starter back from last year's team.
Yeah.
They're 8-13 overall going into Thursday's matchup in the District 3 now 3A semifinals at Columbia, who's 20-2, one of the best teams in the league. Both of their losses have been close. One of them to one of the best teams in the state that they might face in the PIAA 3A bracket, but we'll get to that. So Lancaster Catholic, pretty much brand new team. They've been up and down, but they've been battling, man. They have been right there as the number 5 seed. They went on the road to Kutztown and won 46-40, and now they get a Columbia team that has a lot of experience in the sense of all 3 seniors, Robert Footman, Kerry Glover, Javon Colazzo. All 3 of those guys have essentially been playing together since the 3rd grade. Robert Footman, all-state football quarterback in the fall. Kerry Glover, 1,000-point scorer, son of the coach. Javon Colazzo was a starter at La Academia last year, which won the District 3 1A championship, reached the state semis. So he's now back playing for Columbia. And then they have a big guy whose name escapes me down in the paint that kind of does the dirty work for them. And then watch out for this name, Braylon Miller. He's only a sophomore. He's the son of Solanco legend Johnny Miller. So, and then I would think like their next 3 off the bench, those 3 guys could probably go to a Section 4, Section 5 team and start tomorrow. So that's kind of how deep Columbia is. They like to run, they like to press, and in that gym, Lancaster Catholic going to Columbia, up on the hill, small gym, the crowd's right on top of you, but it's a smaller court, so with Columbia pressing you, turning up the pace a little bit, all those factors can become overwhelming for opponents, and that's a contributing factor for a talented Columbia team that has earned this right, so to speak. So I like Columbia coming out of there. And if you look at the bottom half of the bracket, number 2 seed York Catholic. Well, Columbia went to York Catholic earlier this year on the road on a Saturday and nearly won that game by 30 points.
Yeah.
So I'd be shocked if Columbia doesn't come out on top in the District 3 3A championship. And again,
I like their chances even
Joe
beyond
Clazos
that
can
too.
coach him up. He's 5th all-time winningest coach in LL history, 17th year at Lancaster Catholic. This will be his 2nd time facing Columbia, so perhaps he comes out with a master plan and the Crusaders pull an upset. So it should be an interesting one.
I think Columbia's style translates well to tournament play.
Sure.
Because
especially when you get in the States.
Right. There's this thing called game shock. You just don't expect.
Right.
The onslaught that they put you, especially early. I've got to do like 3 of their games. And one of them including the loss to Warwick. So tempo is so very important to a Columbia
One of their
team.
losses, Executive Education Academy, who has like 4 D1 players, went to Columbia and they won by 9 points.
Right.
So Columbia might face them again come state playoff time. And my question for Columbia getting in the States is, they've been building to this season. I've been covering them now for, it seems 4 straight years when they go to the state playoffs. There's oftentimes these last few years where they go on the road in states like on a Saturday, none of the crowd's there, it's the middle of the afternoon, and you got to generate your own excitement, you got to generate your own energy, and that just hasn't happened for them the last few years. So perhaps they've learned from that and can kind of go on the road to a Chester County type of school and try to overcome those factors. So that's my question mark. I think they have the talent to get far in states. It's a matter of showing up and playing up to their potential.
Yeah, that was the question that I had in my mind, only because I saw him lose at Warwick. They're going to be playing in
which
like
is
you
a 5A
said,
school,
You're
or
right,
6A school.
Correct,
Yeah.
exactly. But the kind of environment, and the fact that tempo was dictated to them in that game rather than the other way around.
Sure, and they were in that. It was 10 lead changes through like the 3rd quarter, and then Warwick makes that little run, and then boom, it's over.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Columbia just couldn't respond after that, and they did hold their own there in the 4th quarter. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Other than that, I think that it's, once we get to states, I think District 3 is going to be, well represented.
Sure. If you're looking at the 6 classifications, there's a chance Lamprey or Strasburg, undefeated, top seed 5A. There's a chance they could contend for a district title. Columbia there in 3A, Mount Calvary Christian, based in Elizabethtown, hosts Lancaster Country Day on Thursday in a District 3 1A semifinal. I think the winner of that will be your District 3 1A champion. And then who else am I leaving out? Oh, Lancaster Mennonite over in Class 2A. They're the defending District 3 2A champions. So the Blazers beat top-seeded Antietam, I think, by 12 points earlier in the year. So all that is to say, there's a chance we could have 4 teams from Lancaster County win District Gold. Now, I probably just jinxed all of them, so I'll try to knock on wood here. But
yeah, but even forgetting about that, I think that beyond I think that a lot of these teams translate to going deep in the PIAA tournament.
Yeah, especially an LS team that likes to go fast. They're not extremely tall. They have one of the best players in the state. They have a glue guy in Luca Vranit. They have 4 guys who can score from inside and outside. They're well coached. They've been on this stage for a while. I do wonder, there was a time a few years ago when they won a league title and they're the top seed and they lose in the quarterfinal round. So it's a completely different team now. I think they're a completely different animal and beast. But my strength of schedule question for them, I think, was answered kind of in their last few games in terms of regular season finale. So Lampeter-Strasburg plays, Section 3, we should point out. And so they got to play 2 games against Section 3 opponents. They got to play crossovers against Section 4. All that is to say, Section 3, Section 4, I have a lot of respect for players and coaches, don't get me wrong, but a little bit down year as compared to most.
And I think even in 5A, it's a little bit down, even in the state, I think, in 5A for basketball.
Sure.
That's why I think that their game translates well.
Yeah,
in
all
the
that is to
tournament.
say, I was concerned about Lampeter-Strasburg's strength of schedule. They go on the road to Bishop McDevitt. It's historically one of the top teams in District 3, and Mike Gaffey does a great job there. And Lampeter-Strasburg trails at halftime all year on the road, hostile environment, and they come back and win it by 3 points, which was their smallest margin of victory, and then they match that in the league final. Probably the craziest environment they're probably playing all year in terms of a packed gym at Manheim Township, and we saw what you did there. You guys talked about it at the top of the show. So I don't know, maybe they checked that box for me anyway in terms of, hey, we can go on the road, we can play in hostile territory. We played, a Class 6A Hempfield team, and we beat them at the wire, and they had an inch or two on us at almost every position. So maybe that's not so much a concern. They got that experience under their belt. We do have to be concerned about Berkeley Wagner for LS, the starting point guard. Turned his ankle in the league quarterfinal, sat out the league semifinal, played in the league final, wakes up the next morning, oh man, my ankle really hurts, and played like a minute in the District 3 opener. So he's questionable for the quarterfinals. So I think they should be fine even without him playing against a Northeastern team, but you get deeper in the bracket against the Hershey at West York, we'll see what happens there.
Well, West York especially. I mean,
Sure.
There's a team that has played very well. I mean, we had Garrett Bull on earlier this year, and boy, I tell you what, that's a very talented team and have gone through a killer schedule, and so they're going
West
to be well
York,
prepared.
second seeded in 5A, 23-2 overall. And by the way, earlier this year, Lampeter-Strasburg had a game scheduled with Muhlenberg. Muhlenberg pulls out because they want to go to some showcase to play Executive Education Academy, who we mentioned a few minutes ago. So Lampeter-Strasburg, it's a Saturday. They're trying to pick up a game. They had West York on the books, and then they just couldn't line it up. And all that is to say, they could meet up in the district final here in another week or so.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I mean, it's going to be a great time, and it's been a great time having you.
Hey, if I could say 2 things. One,
Sure.
Thank you to Dell for this awesome new tie. My second basketball tie overall. The first came from my mom. The second came from my high school math teacher, Mr. Dell Jackson, which is awesome. This is my hometown, man. I grew up watching LL hoops since I was a kid. My dad's a McCaskey alum, and Pasilla Gymnasium, McCaskey basketball, and Lancaster Catholic. But Bill Southward was my 6th grade teacher. So I grew up going Lancaster Catholic, McCaskey, Millersville basketball games. So to come back and be able to cover this league, like, I got to pinch myself sometimes. I was just doing an interview of a swimmer out at Millersville, Pasilla, like a couple weeks ago. And like, man, if this was 12-year-old me, looking at what I'm doing now, like, I got to put things in perspective. So I'm extremely grateful. The second thing, we're at Aruga's, right? This restaurant used to be called Symposium. Very fancy, upper class type of restaurant. And so throughout my college years, I supported myself working as a waiter. First was TGI Fridays, and then Carlos and Charlie's, RIP, missed those guys, no longer around. And then I graduate from Penn State. It's like May 2010. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to upper class restaurant and waiter until I can find a journalism job. I come here and I'm terrible to the point that this restaurant being upper scale, when a table orders a bottle of wine, You're taking out that bottle of wine to them. You're opening it at the table. And I can clearly remember me standing over there. I'm struggling with this, man. I'd never opened a bottle of wine in my life. Sure, they taught me in the back. I'm getting out there. I'm nervous. My hands are wet. Thankfully, the owner's up at the bar and kind of is eagle-eyeing me from a distance. And I kind of looked up at him, and I think he got the hint. He comes down, opens the bottle of wine for me. Like 2 weeks later, I get a job at the York Dispatch.
Wow.
Praise the Lord, because I don't know if they would have kept me on staff here, essentially. So
Yeah, well,
to come back
it's kind
here,
of tough to be a waiter when you can't open a bottle. of
sure,
wine.
right. Almost 12 years later, knowing that I made it, it's kind of just a reminder to be thankful where I'm at. So thanks for having me here.
Well, I think and everybody who covers sports here is thankful that we're given the opportunity,
Sure.
to get behind the curtain, and that. But anyway, and we appreciate everything you do, and thanks for all your support.
You
all
as
right?
well. Good luck to you and
All right.
Dell.
All right, here we go. Dell's going to be back in here in a minute. And we're back. Del Jackson miraculously appeared. I feel like David Copperfield tonight. I mean, these guys go in and out and appear and reappear, I mean, how does that happen? I don't know.
It happens because you're pushing the magic buttons. That's how it happens. It's easy.
Pushing the magic button, which has been kind of different tonight, I'll
easy.
tell you. But anyway, so John, a great guy. I mean,
How prepared was that dude? I mean, I thought he was writing a story. He had the brackets, he had the names, he had the history.
Yeah, I mean, it's
L&P's got a winner there,
And look, and what do they say about like if you get a job you love, you never work a day in your life? I think John Walk's the epitome of that. So, anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the girls. We didn't really touch on that too much with John, but it's really interesting. I think 6A is pretty much going to be chalk so far. I'm only going by what we're looking at here this week. I really like Cumberland Valley. I think that they've had their trouble this year. They've been had some injuries, but
play the Comets, right?
they do. Yeah.
You saw the Comets.
Well, no, that's Cedar Cliff plays the Comets.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But,
you saw Cumberland Valley earlier.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I like them to beat Red Lion this week. I think that might be an upset to keep an eye on as far as highlights on the girls' side. I think 5A, I mean, the whole bracket there is just totally wide open. There are so many teams, and
District 3 has to like that. Wide open brackets.
Wide open bracket, absolutely.
You like Lancaster Catholic?
I like them to beat Schuylkill Valley this week. I mean, it's technically an upset, but I was very impressed with Coach Detz's team. I mean, in the championship there. Obviously I'm a Berks County guy, but I was really impressed with Lancaster Catholic. And, the one team that, everybody's been talking about all year, that somehow, normally you want your teams to be playing, and the team that seems to be kind of slumping at the wrong time seems to be Berks Catholic. Yeah. They've had a little bit of trouble, but, we'll see. We had Coach Birmingham on. Yep. We'll see if they can.
New season.
New season.
Right.
In 3A, I've got my eye on York Catholic.
Absolutely.
I think that, and 2A, Columbia, big favorite there. Just like in 1A, Christian School of York. I think that at 23-1, I mean, how are they not the favorite there? But this week I think is obviously going to set the table for the following week, and we're going to keep up with the shows for what, 2 more weeks after this week?
2 more weeks, that's the plan. So next week will be right before the finals, the District 3 finals.
Right.
And then we plan to have kind of a wrap-up show if we can get some guests for the last week, and that'll take us into states. So tell me before we get off the air here, what you have planned for the district finals.
Well, district finals, I mean, we know that we're going to be, doing the championship games. I mean, on Saturday, that's the plan right now, is to do the championships game, to stream those. We'll see what happens, with Thursday. It's kind of tough, for us to get in and out on a weekday. Look, I mean, we all work regular jobs. To get in and out, and there might be an opportunity to do maybe the 4A final or whatever like that on Thursday night. But the plan is to at least do 3 or 4 games on Saturday.
NFHS, correct?
Yeah, NFHS.
Okay.
And
we'll get the word out on the website.
Yeah.
So I know I'm planning on being there Thursday all day, and then Andy's going to come up Saturday. So there will be some coverage regardless of what teams play on LO Hoops. We'll do something.
Yeah,
Definitely.
correct. And, a lot of good coverage upcoming, and still a lot of basketball to be played.
Yep.
Forgetting about even the districts, I mean, getting into the state championships, beyond that, I mean, we're so fortunate the state championships are right here in our backyard.
One of our guys, David Keller, sent me some things today, and he is posting teams that qualify before the state finals come out. So we'll be updating that page probably every day, not tonight, but we'll be, wow, I guess there's some other districts are playing tonight. District 3 is off tonight.
Yeah, District 3. Well, I think there's one girls game that got rescheduled or what have you tonight. But overall, it's been kind of nice. I mean, we picked a good night to have the show, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, hopefully the fans have enjoyed it. It seems like we've had a lot of good reception from the coaches and players and what have you.
Yeah. Well, we get guys from Harrisburg to come down here to talk to us. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty important.
Right.
I mean, we've had that twice.
Exactly.
We've had
Chris
2 big
Bradford
mid-pens.
and their time.
See if we can get a Reading coach here. What do you think? You have to work on that, man.
Well, they can drive over with me. It's not like they even have to drive. I mean, they can hitch a ride with me.
You got to work on it. Your ballpark.
Yeah. Well, we won't hopefully spill the beans on that. We've got to work on that there for one of the final shows. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun tonight, man. All right. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock live here from Arugas, and then it's always on demand, right? I mean, they can get the link on the website?
That's where we're picking up our views, is after the fact. I mean, everybody's watching Duke, Virginia right now. So after that game's over, then, they can live stream. So it's all good.
Hey,
I'll get some Twitter one way or the other on it tonight.
All right. Well, listen, hey, thanks for joining us for our latest edition of Pick and Roll. I'm Bruce Badgley for Dell Jackson, John Walk, Ty Savercool. Hey, listen, thanks for joining us. Hey,